Today in the shop we are diagnosing a 2006 F250 with a 6-liter diesel engine that won't start. No start is probably not the best description for what this truck is actually doing. Sometimes it won't start at all, sometimes it will start and die immediately. I think the best I've had it do was run for like a minute and then it just died like the key was shut off. I'm going to be using 4Scan Lite along with an OBD-Link MX Plus Bluetooth adapter today for diagnosis. Let's take a look and see what we have for codes in this. And we have a P1000, so someone else has already looked at this and cleared the codes. We also have a P0678 cylinder 8 glow plug, but that's not going to keep the engine from running. It certainly won't make it die after it starts. Let's take a look and see what the injector control pressure is doing. And I also have the sync and the FICM sync PIDs up here. Sync is the correlation between the crankshaft and the camshaft sensors. Both of those need to read yes for the engine to start and run. Our sync and our FICM sync PIDs look good. I don't see a problem with those. They both go to yes when the engine's cranking. Our ICP pressure, though, it varies. It's not real consistent when we're cranking, and I'm not quite sure why it didn't start there, because the minimum ICP pressure you need for it to turn on the injection system is 500 psi, and we've got way more than that. We had 3,600 and some, I think, there at the last cranking, but you'll notice it got higher each time we cranked the engine there. It wasn't really consistent like it should be. And this time it started. Let's go ahead and shut it off and try it again. I've gotten rid of the ICP voltage PID here. We're just going to watch the injector control pressure PID. And as you can see here, we no longer have injector control pressure. Nowhere near the 500 we need for it to turn on the injection system. Let's try and crank it again, and we're going to watch real closely what the ICP pressure does. We need a minimum of 500 psi for it to even turn on the injectors. And we have nowhere near enough. I think the highest I saw there was 400 psi when we first started cranking, and then it dropped down to 100 and something. At this point, let's get under the hood and check a few basic things. The quickest way I know of to check for a bad ICP sensor or an issue with the pigtail is just to unplug the ICP sensor. The PCM, if it can't read the ICP sensor, will just assume it has pressure and turn on the injection system and let the engine start. If the engine doesn't start, you really don't have high pressure oil. If the engine starts, it's a bad sensor or an issue with the pigtail. And this is looking like we really have a problem with the high pressure oil system. Now, since we had ICP pressure and then we lost it, I'm going to pull the oil filter real quick and just make sure we are still pumping oil. Nothing catastrophic has happened on the bottom or the oil pump on this engine. And we seem to be pumping oil fine, so let's move on to checking the high pressure system for leaks. I've removed the ICP sensor and I've screwed an adapter into it that allows me to blow compressed air into that hole, and that way we can check for leaks or listen for leaks. To leak test the system, you have to plug in a scan tool and command the IPR solenoid to 100% or as close as you can get it to it. The IPR solenoid is normally open and just dumps off the high pressure oil to regulate it. The thing I've noticed on this one is I have almost no leakage, and I haven't plugged in a scan tool and taken the IPR up to 100% yet, and that's not right. Without the IPR commanded to 100%, it should have a huge leak in the system. There's always a very small leak in the high pressure oil system because there's no seal where the shaft goes into the high pressure pump. So at this point I'm really starting to think we have a sticking IPR solenoid. Now I did plug in a scan tool and tried commanding it, and it would go from 100% sealed to leaking around 20%, and that's not really right either. You should have to take the IPR up to 75, 85%, and at that point it should start pretty much sealing, usually, but it's just acts strange and is inconsistent, so I think we're going to try an IPR solenoid in it. The IPR is located in the valley, kind of behind and under the turbo, and to replace it we're going to have to remove the fuel injection control module and the rear mounting bracket for the control module, and it will take a special socket. It could probably be done without the socket, but you would have to pull the turbo and use an end wrench. And the IPR is just threaded and screws out. And the screen came off the old one here, so we'll have to fish that out with a pick. The screen's not completely plugged, but there's definitely some garbage in it, so change your oil, people. So with the IPR replaced, let's see if it runs. And we will have to crank this for just a minute. Anytime you have the high pressure oil system open, air gets in the system, and air is a lot more compressible than oil, so it's going to take it just a minute to build pressure. Really, to get the air all out of the system, it will have to be driven. If you found this helpful or interesting, please smash that like button. I've got a lot more great stuff coming up, so please subscribe, and as always, have a great week.